Give us a wink.
Hey guys, Jake here from Cowboy for Game, and I'm here with Andrew Jones, who recently came sixth at the Chatswood Regional. So, Andrew, tell us what you played.
Played Thunder Dragon, Pure Chaos and Danger, I guess you could call it, but not the Guard Dragon build.
Right, okay. So before we get into the build, tell us a little bit about the day. How'd you go?
So it was 7 rounds, 5 wins, 2 losses. My losses were to first and second at the end of it, respectively. So I'd like to think, in theory, that means I lost to the two best players in the room. So it kind of felt good.
Yep, sweet. Okay, well, run us through the build.
Yep. So similar to Pure, so we got 3 Batteryman, just your best starter. 3 original Thunder Dragon. You need that for like breaking boards with Titan mainly, more than anything, and always 3. 3 Dragonhawk, just the best card to open. It's simple as that. So in this build, you go 3. It's not so danger heavy, so it's fine. 3 Dark, because you need it for activating under Titan. Also, I run Desires, so 2 is a little bit too bad with Desires. 2 Raw. I was thinking about 3, but it is the worst one to have in your hand. So 2 was fine and worked out all the day, so that's fine.
Yep.
2 Egg, because you just want 1 to replace itself and 1 to use from hand. 3 was unnecessary, and it's not usually the best card to open. Generally, you want to search it. It's another activator for the other activator for Titan off turn. The 1 Duo, highly searchable. Generally, you search this pretty early, so works good. Finally back to the 1 Denko. I had dropped this for a very long time, but we're finally back to 1. Just with the Mystic Mine and some other, a lot of back row heavy stuff like Salad and whatnot, and Orcus. It's just kind of good to have 1 that's searchable or to occasionally sack. I play a very small danger engine, so just 2 Nessie, 2 Snake, and 2 Jackalope. It's really just to kind of fill in space and just be those better things that can get you the board, and also just that way to extend into Sayusha. A lot of times the deck can get to 3 monsters on the board, but the 4th is sometimes a bit trickier to get. That's where the dangers help a lot, and then just regular unbreaking. So cards are good. For the Chaos package, 3 Wyburster and 1 Collapse Serpent for the Little Dragons. I played this ratio because I really just want to see the Wyburster and Batteryman. The Collapse Serpent isn't of as much consequence in this build, so I didn't really feel the need to run the second. Its job is honestly just to be the chain block that the Wyburster sets off when you go into Sayusha. Apart from that, the Collapse Serpent doesn't come up too often, but in the occasional grind games it comes up. 2 Levianeer. In this build, it's not as good as in the Guard Dragon build. Like the Guard Dragon build, kind of this is the best card, but this one, it's good as a comeback mechanic and kind of to push some advantage. But 2 is the most I'd play. Maybe even consider dropping it back to 1. It's fantastic, but just not as good in this build. And the hand traps for the day. 3 Phantasme. Probably the best hand trap I ran all day. Card's nuts. In this particular build, it solves a huge amount of the consistency problems. Just being able to draw 2 and then put a brick back was just insane. The amount of times I'd open the single Collapse Serpent, and then they do something, Phantasme, draw 2, put the Collapse Serpent back, and you're in a much better spot. And also, the card's just stupidly strong. Triple Ash Blossom. I actually didn't really like running this, the idea of running this beforehand, but I ended up putting it back to 3 after talking with some people. And it's really just so I didn't lose to Demise against Mystic Mines and True Draco and stuff like that, which I never ended up really versing in the day anyway. But still, it did alright. 2 Ghost Ogres. Ironically, I saw this way more often than I did the Ash. Came in clutch a lot. Like, it's really, really good, this format. Makes Salads make a really awkward board, and most things are vulnerable to an Ogre at some point, so yeah, that's quite good. That was it for the main deck 10 traps, so 8 in total. For the spells, so because of the variant I run, I don't run the Sekker's Light build, so it goes 2 of the Fusion spell. I like 2 because it's not bad to hard draw it or draw it off of Sayusha, even though you can search it, if you can see it rather than search it, all the better. Best card of the whole event, 2 Twin Twisters, just extremely good at the moment. There's just so many back row decks. 3 of my matches were against Salad, and I beat all 3 of them, and it was heavily due to Twin Twister. Just once the back row's gone, they seem to not really be able to do a whole heap, and you just proceed to win. 2 Pot of Desires. Chose to run this over Allure because I just kind of preferred the +1. Allure I thought is only really better if you actually hit a Dark or a Raw, and it's just not always guaranteed. The ratios are kind of good enough that it doesn't usually punish too bad. I think out of the whole day, I used Desires a whole heap, and I think only one of them was particularly bad. So I like it. And then just the 1 Gold Sarcophagus, just because obviously you run that in Thunders, and it's a pretty good card. So it was 45 cards in the main.
45 cards, okay. Alright, well run us through the extra deck.
Yep. So we have very standard triple Colossus, kind of the best card in the extra deck, but at the same time there is a increasingly annoying amount of decks that seem to just be able to ignore his effects, but he's still just obviously a staple anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I went triple Titan. I really wasn't sure what to put for a 15th card, to be honest. I can actually safely say at the end of the day this would have been okay at 2. But it never hurts to have 3, especially in the long grindy games, because you can use it to put itself back and do a lot of infinite loops, which some of the games came to with a grind build. But this actually was probably put in a lot more work than Colossus for the event. Just clearing boards, using the fusion spell to put 2 originals back and 1 other card, and then just using the originals one by one and just either baiting out things or popping the whole board. That definitely won, I'd say, at least half my games for sure. Then for the links, so I went Linkaribo. Really didn't come up a whole heap, but just every now and then with the egg, it just comes up, or with the token with Battery Man. It hurts when you don't have it, but it just seems to come up very little, so I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. Some Summoner, obviously just part of your regular opening, generally the best thing to go into at the start of the game. I kind of regretted not having 2 of these, and I may consider dropping the Linkaribo for some Summoner or one of the Titans, a second one, but it's most of the time it's fine. Phoenix, honestly, it did pretty shit for the day, but you know, it comes up every now and then. You need it. Underclock put in a huge amount of work over the weekend. There's a lot of games I was able to finish up a turn earlier because I could just underclock, and I'm always going to put a fusion under it. They're all extremely strong, so most things that underclock targets will go to 0 attack. So OTKs became a lot easier. And then you can also just, after that, you can link up into Unicorn, which is the next card, and just go from there. So the 1 Unicorn, obviously, just certain removal you need it. The mirrors kind of helps a lot. Link 4's just Borrow Load, because it's probably still the best Link 4 for taking down boards. And the 1 Sayuja, critically important. Just fixes hands. It's generally the goal at the start of the turn is just to get into that Sayuja. And then I ran 2 XCs. So for the rank 8, we ran Centifond. Extremely good card, just locks both players out of the graveyards until the end of the next turn, so really it only punishes your opponent. Goes 100 attack and defense for each monster in the graveyards. That's not usually too relevant. But against Salads, Orcust, and a few others, the stopping people from accessing the graveyard is pretty good. And lastly, Gustav Max.
Scum.
Came up quite a lot, actually won quite a few games, some in time, and then some were just to finish the person off when they may have otherwise been able to get back into the game. Getting someone with a deck like this to 2,000 or less life is not particularly difficult, but sometimes it is really difficult to actually get them down to 0. With this particular build, it is quite easy to put 2 Titans on the field if you really want to. And then, yeah, there's just plenty of games where it just closed the deal, and I absolutely would 100% recommend this and keep it in there.
Yep, your scum. And your side deck?
Yep, so there's the last copy of the Twin Twisters, just once again for more heavy back row. If they don't have back row, just do that. And the other 2 copies of Denko. So I wanted to be prepared for some back row in the main deck, but I didn't want to overcommit to it, so I found that to be pretty good. Just pop these guys in when it was relevant and take them out when it's not. So it worked out pretty good. 3 Round Boys. Now this is mainly for the Thunder Guard Dragon matchup, or anyone that just makes a obnoxiously crazy board. Sometimes I think it's the only realistic out evenly matched. Wasn't quite going to cut it because most of them have a negate for it anyway. So Round Boy worked out pretty good for the day. Didn't even end up coming up a lot, but I was glad it was there. 3 Red Reboot. Never came up, but I was still glad it was there. Once again, I dodged most of the Mystic Mines, and there was no Waltergeist at the that I saw at the event, so I couldn't have known that. I think it was still earned its place there, but it never really came up. Triple Strike, just as something a bit stronger for going first. Only used it in a few matches, and yeah, apart from your regular board, it's just nice to have something more strong going first. To go with that as well, the 1 copy of Macro. So this version of the deck can play very, very easily with Macro. You don't really need to worry about things getting banished, and there's a lot of decks that cannot play under Macro full stop. So yeah, if you see it, you probably win, but that often you don't see it. And lastly, 2 Impermanents. It came up a lot. There's a lot of decks that's really good against, and I kind of decided in for going first or second. It was just good either way, and it's just a really good card. That's it.
Cool. So over the course of the day, what was your best and worst match?
Well, as it turns out, best matchups or matches?
Matchups, however you want
to. Best matchups turned out to be Salad, which I previously had usually struggled with the deck, but that was before putting the the back row removals in. Seems to have worked out really well. I tested with Lachlan, and it helped with that. We figured it actually beat the deck quite well. Apart from that, they were probably the most entertaining. A lot of the other ones were sometimes a bit too one-sided. Verse 1 Mystic Mine, for example, but the player bricked pretty much both games, so I can't say those games are particularly enjoyable. Yeah. But the Salads usually had a good amount of back and forth, so that was good fun. But probably the most fun I had was versing Bowden, I'd say.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah. Because I almost pulled it into a tie, making Gustav in time main phase. I'd lost on life points, but I would have been able to burn it, but I made a mistake and I stuffed up my combo. But that was still a really, really fun game, because it actually went closer to time and there was a lot of back and forth. And I think that was pretty much it. My only 2 losses were to our other teammate Lewis, who came second, and I just got absolutely thrashed by that deck.
Yeah, that deck is pretty nuts.
Yeah,
and we'll have his profile coming up in the next couple of days. All right, thanks, Drew.
Cool, thank you.